Hello from the Dukascopy TV studio in Geneva. We are talking about quantitative easing in the Eurozone and the perspectives, and I'm joined by Patrice Gautry. He's Chief Economist of Bancaire Privee here in Geneva. Mr. Gautry, welcome to the studio.
Thank you for your invitation.
So the BCE, the Central Bank of Europe, has started the quantitative easing program at the beginning of this month. 60 billion euros are merged into the market. Actually, how was the timing of this program? Was it timed well?
I would say that since the beginning of the financial crisis, this quantitative easing comes a bit late. That is to say, we were expecting last year any specific action on credit, and also we were expecting for a very long time a more aggressive monetary policy. So, okay, now it has come. So it's a good agenda, I would say, because we have already seen the promises of a rebound in the Eurozone activity.
Mm-hmm. And how do you evaluate the first market reactions?
Oh, I was very, very surprised by all the markets' reaction. And what we see at this point of time is that the market, that is, say, stock markets and bond market, have reacted more to the ECB quantitative easing if we compare with the previous Fed quantitative easing. That is to say, we have seen a huge spread compression in terms of credit. We have seen a huge spread compression for peripherals, and we have seen a strong rebound in terms of cyclical stocks. And these effects are, of course, with a very sharp weakening of the euro. These effects are very strong. And the problem for me is how far these reactions are a sort of distortion of the bond market, distortion within the currency market, not just the reflection of the quantitative easing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So we can actually maybe say Mr. Draghi is currently smiling about this program. Can it really help boost the European economy in the long run?
Yes, because we have already seen that the demand for credit is progressively recovering. And at the same time, we have seen that commercial banks are more ready to deliver a credit. That is to say, there is no specific shortage of credit. So at this point of time, with such low interest rates, with a weakening process of euro, and also with the extra boost coming from lower oil prices, at this point of time, we could expect for this year a rebound in the Eurozone activity. We are expecting 1.3% of GDP growth for Eurozone this year, and probably closer to 1.7% and closer to 2% next year. It will take time for the monetary policy to be efficient on the real economy, but on aggregate, on the average 2 years, we would see perhaps a nice recovery within the European countries.
And so how will also the quantitative easing affect the euro-dollar rates also for the next half year or for the next year?
Of course, we were very surprised by the weakening of the euro, the sharp depreciation of the euro, especially against the US dollar. And of course, the quantitative easing coming from the ECB will continue to support this depreciation. Perhaps the market on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, have been too far, too quickly. That is to say, we could see in the next week or in the next month some correction. But the trend is definitely down for the euro, and the 1.05 parity in euro-dollar parity could be the next, could be a good target if we look at what the Fed is expected to do this year and next year. And at the same time, the ECB will remain at a very zero or slightly negative short-term interest rate. So the parity is a good level.
And when do you expect the parity?
Oh, it's the timing is absolutely very, very difficult at this point of time, because as I said, we were already surprised by this sharp depreciation in a very few weeks after the announcement of the ECB QE. So the problem is the agenda, and we have seen that all these quantitative easings coming from the Fed and now the ECB has shortened, in fact, the agenda. So probably quicker than we are expecting today.
Mm-hmm. So maybe to wrap up this subject, also having a broader perspective globally, how is this quantitative easing affecting the global economy? And maybe also how will other central banks react to it?
In theory, every central banks try to act and to manage their own domestic demand and own domestic activity. And this is the reason why we should expect a tightening coming from the Fed. And this is also coming from the BOJ. More easing is probable in the next quarter because we have seen that the activity is slowing down and the inflation prospects are also slowing down. And at the same time, the emerging countries have tried to ease their monetary policy because inflation is also slowing down. So there is a broad way, there is a global easing coming from Europe, Japan, and emerging central banks. And at the same time, we enter in a progressive tightening coming from the US. This is a very contrasted road in terms of monetary policy that will bring more volatility on markets.
Patrice Gautry from Bancaire Privee here in Geneva, thank you very much for being here today and sharing your expertise with us.
Thank you for your invitation.
And thanks for watching. Do make sure to keep clicking back on the Dukascopy TV website for latest updates and exclusive interviews. Have a great day and see you next time.